But are they at a disadvantage because they're seen as smaller? I mean, I think now as we think of the games in the future and, the business model is changing, this, idea of like the 5 games always being these big blockbuster games, is that right?
Well, I voted for Super Hexagon as Game of the Year last year, and people weren't with me, so I guess I had to give in. And a couple years before that, Desktop Tower Defense was my favorite Game of the Year. And I both times found resistance from people who are saying, look, that's good, but it's a little amusement. I mean, that's, I don't know, voting for chess as the coolest game of the year when they invented football the same year or something like that. And it's seen as like, it's not quite the same thing.
No, we got even some of that last year with, I think, Journey, and some people would say like, hey, that's fantastic, but it's like, hey, this is a small 90-minute game experience. It's like, how could that compete against these, epic titles? Like, there's something natural when you look at like GTA 5 and say, hey, these guys spent 4 years on this thing, look how epic it is. How do you compare that, as you said, to a smaller game, which may have just as much impact?
But I'm going to say that's the point, though, is that it's this kind of antiquated notion that the amount of effort that goes into a thing suddenly makes it more deserving of praise than the number, like something with less man hours behind it. I think that it's all just about the experience. If it has the impact on you, it doesn't matter if it's 90 minutes or 100 hours. As long as the quality is there and the talent is there, that I think that's all that really matters.
Sure, and those smaller studios don't need us to give them praise. Like you see a game like Binding of Isaac that was made for a tiny budget and made millions and millions of dollars. I mean, they're doing okay. Like, these studios are finding ways. I mean, if it's a lesser known game, sure, they might need attention, but they're finding a way to succeed if the game is good enough.
They probably wouldn't
Rockstar
mind.
needs
They wouldn't mind.
Rockstar needs
They wouldn't
our
turn it
help.
off.
Yeah.
What about some of these studios that had just struggled to ship launch games for these new consoles? Is that deserving of praise? I mean, no one's on the list there, but the Crytek guys getting Rise working on Xbox One, or Guerrilla getting Killzone ready. I mean, or games like that. I mean, do people deserve credit for being able to do cross-generational games?
Just releasing a game. I don't think someone earns any awards
Yeah.
for just like, hey, we did it.
No, but releasing games is
It's hard,
reasonably
but
reasonably well reviewed.
I expect them
although-
to also be good.
Yes.
I have that high standard.
all right.
It should be its own category, ability to hit a moving target better than other studios.
That's part of the challenge, right, with all these launch games. And I assume, by next year, when we get to these lists, it'll be pretty much all, games shipping for these new consoles.
Yep.
So we're going to see sort of who transitions and who keeps shipping stuff on both systems,
Yep.
and who's going to lead the charge as the next-gen game. All right, guys, moving on to another category that's going to be awarded at the show. Most anticipated game nominees: Titanfall, Destiny, South Park: The Stick of Truth, The Witcher 3, and Watch Dogs, believe it or not. Game that should have been out this year, but got pushed to next year. So anticipated that it's up for the award again. Out of all those, any sense of what your favorites would be, Russ?
It's got to be Titanfall. I mean, that's a game that pretty much everyone's been in love with the second they play it, and I think a lot of people are buying Xbox Ones just to play Titanfall.
Right.
So it seems like an easy pick.
All right, Alex?
I mean, I know personally I'm maybe slightly more looking forward to South Park and Witcher, actually, but I think if we're talking like larger, scope of things, Titanfall is by far the one that has the most excitement around it. The Watch Dogs might be a close second, just now that they've pushed themselves into the category again this year.
And they've been strangely quiet.
They have
ever
been.
since
I'm
they sort of
worried
announced the
about
delay.
Watch Dogs. Am I crazy to be worried? Like, at this point,
I don't know. I mean, that was a game I think initially very, very excited about, and then it felt like sort of, slowly I wasn't getting as excited about it, and they went completely dark, and I've heard sort of various rumors about, like, is it coming in January, or is it coming later? And I mean, I'll be very interested to see what that game is going to end up being.
Yeah.
But very ambitious, and I think they know, coming out in the wake of GTA 5, that they would, really have to deliver something spectacular.
more time is always good for a game,
Yeah.
but that last minute change of schedule is not
One of the
great.
strangest stories and surprising stories, I think, of the whole
For a
year.
game that was a bundle, too.
Yeah.
First, I think they delayed it just to get this category. I think the game was done. By the way, they just wanted to take home this trophy. Second, I think Ubisoft said it's coming out in March, so I don't think we have to worry that it's coming in so hot that it's in January. Third, Far Cry 3 got a last-minute delay last year, and wound up being a spectacular game. I think it was pushed from November to December.
It was, because it missed our eligibility window, and it actually was up for nomination this year.
I tried to stuff that ballot.
The
Far Cry 3
Blood Dragon, the
nominations.
DLC is in there, I think.
Yeah, Far Cry 3 is amazing. It's definitely deserving. Anyway, I think that Watch Dogs has the chance to be turned around into something fantastic or to be taken forward, but GTA 5 was breathing down its neck, and I think that was the thing. Is it just doesn't look like it could compare to what they had.
So is that your most anticipated?
I'm more interested in the ones that I'm doubtful for, or
Right.
that I don't have a lot of experience for. So Witcher, I've never played a Witcher. I have colleagues at Kotaku who absolutely adore that series and think it's the most amazing thing. So this will be my jumping on point for that.
Right.
And then I'm curious about Destiny, because I feel like I've never really wrapped my head about what actually is Destiny and how does it really distinguish itself both from Halo, the Bungie made before that, but also from all the other shooters out there. How multiplayer or massively multiplayer is it? And I find it intriguing.
Yep.
If we can exchange anticipator for intriguing, most intriguing game of 2014.
All right, fair enough. Well, we'll find out the winners at VGX this Saturday night, live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and we will be back next week with an all-new bonus round.